Welcome to part 3 of my trespass appeal hearing. Coming up on the stand next is Harrison Flynn, yet another liar and fabricator of the truth.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You've previously been sworn.
Yes, sir.
Can you please state your name?
My name is Harrison Flynn.
And Mr. Flynn, where are you employed?
I'm employed at the Pasadena Tax Collector's Office in Michael Lakes.
And what is your position in the Land Lakes Tax Collector's Office?
I'm a customer service supervisor.
And what does that mean?
Essentially middle management. I am just in control of the staff.
Okay. You kind of oversee the staff that's out on the floor in that location.
Correct.
You set policy for the tax collector's office?
No, sir.
Drawing your attention to May 30th of this year, did you have an incident that involved individuals recording in your office?
Correct.
And had your office had an issue with video recording prior to that day?
Yes.
Okay. And in the past, had it been an issue to the extent where it disrupted your business, disrupted your customers, and you had to shut the office down?
Yes.
And is it fair to say that the tax collector's office deals with sensitive information on a regular basis?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so on that day, May 31st, May 30th, I want you to describe to the hearing officer what your personal observations were.
Yes, so the two gentlemen, the one representing here and the gentleman behind him, came into the office with their equipment and tripod and set up, as Mr. Hunter described, right in correlation with the gatekeeper right in the walkway. The gatekeeper herself, the clerk, contacted me and said that they were here and that they were asking to speak to Mr. Tim. So then I went in the back to try to find Tim to see if he was present. He was not present. He was out on lunch at that time. So that at that point I had called him to let him know that I had the individuals here to see him. He pretty much told me to kind of stand by for the time being, that he'd be there shortly to decide how we proceed. We did have customers in the office kind of a little upset that he was there recording. We were trying to just mitigate the situations as much as possible, and then we got to go ahead and just cease business operations until they either decided we didn't call law enforcement right away. We gave them a chance to just kind of resolve their business and leave. When that started to escalate with customers being upset, cursing, trying to kind of instigate whatever it may be, that's when we called law enforcement.
And going back to, I know you said that you observed video camera tripod, and did it appear to you that he was recording?
Correct, yes.
Did you later actually confirm that the appellant had recorded within your office?
Correct, yes.
How did you confirm that?
By his postings on YouTube that was relayed to me.
Okay. You saw recordings from within your office from that day?
Correct, yes, sir.
So, needless to say, testified customers were upset. Did having to shut down the office as a result, did that disrupt the business operations for the day?
Correct, yes.
Other than the event you've testified to this morning, did you have any further involvement in this case?
No, sir.
No further questions from the panel.
I'm sorry, sir. What did you say your name was?
Harrison Flynn?
Harrison Flynn?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do at the tax collector's office, sir?
I'm a supervisor.
What does that mean? Who do you control?
The staff.
All the staff?
All of the staff, regular clerks, frontline clerks, correct.
The clerks, the frontline clerks, the ladies who we go and handle our title exchanges, our driver's license renewals, correct? You're in charge of all of them.
Correct.
And how do you know me?
From your interaction coming into the office, that is about it.
When you say in the office, which office was I in?
Michael Lakes.
The whole building is an office?
Pardon?
Is the whole building an office?
I don't understand the direct correlation to the
Was I in somebody's personal office?
Not a personal office, no.
Where was I standing?
In front of the gatekeeper to the
Is that a public lobby?
I suppose so, yes.
Is the general public allowed to be in that lobby?
Yes.
As long as they don't disrupt anybody, get in anybody's way, right?
Correct.
Curse, bother people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just standing there peacefully is not a disruption, is it?
No.
But would that be cause to make everyone stop working?
Correct.
It would be.
No, like if you were not disruptive, it would not be caught.
And the disruption is specifically what? That I was standing next to the gatekeeper where she told us, right?
You were in front of the gatekeeper, well, next to the gatekeeper with your
All
camera.
right, gatekeeper here, we're off to the left, me,
Correct.
Anthony, this gentleman, right in front of me, correct?
Correct.
Camera pointing straight that way, not at any customer, not at any clerk, is that right?
Correct.
Not at any paperwork, correct?
Correct.
Right,
Well, paperwork that, I don't know if it was visible at the time of the camera or not.
right. Was there, how many cameras were above my head?
I'm unaware.
More than one?
Yes.
Are those my cameras?
Those are arms.
And what are your cameras used for?
That I'm not aware to know.
You
For us
don't-
to view.
You don't know what your cameras are used for? Who does view those cameras, that footage?
Our IT department.
IT?
Correct.
And what do they do with that footage?
Keep it, I'm not entirely sure. That's
Is it-
over my head.
Is that footage public record?
I'm not aware.
Did you make the decision to make everyone stop working?
In accordance with our policy, yes.
In accordance with your policy, since I was being disruptive, you made every clerk in there stop serving probably over 100 people, right?
We roughly had 30 people in the lobby at that time.
And what was the reason given to those people?
I'm not entirely sure. It wasn't part of that interaction.
Okay. Did you observe me being disruptive?
Yes.
Was I in anybody's way?
Yes.
Whose way was I in?
Customers.
You had a customer tell you I was in their way?
Yep.
Do you have a affidavit? Do you have any video? Do you have any audio?
No, sir.
Do you know the person's name?
No, sir.
Did you get a statement from them?
No, sir.
So again, it's just you in here saying someone, you don't know who they are, no evidence, told you I was in their way. Did anyone ask me to move from there and take a seat?
I'm not aware. It was not me.
It was not you. I don't remember you at all, so I'm trying to understand where you're coming up with this. So again, I wasn't pointing at any paperwork, right? No clerk. I was pointing straight back. We were there for a 60-second transaction. And you decided to make everyone stop working because a random person with no evidence told you I was in their way.
No, because you were not in accordance with the policy.
Which policy is that?
Our recording policy or videotaping.
Is that the Driver Protection Privacy Act that's written on the front door?
No, sir.
That's a different policy?
Correct.
Who created the policy you're currently talking about?
Our directors.
Your directors?
Correct.
Okay, now, I have another video, Mr. Kowet saying that these were run by lawyers and paralegals, and I have also the open record here where that's all a lie from a public records request. Okay? So, can you make a policy that says no black people?
No, I'm not in that position to make any policies within my office or know who makes them.
If your directors wrote a policy and it said no black people, would you follow that policy?
Jack, relevance to this question.
I agree.
Relevance is you can't discriminate against the color of skin or civil rights. It's the First Amendment, free press. We're there to objectively document our government in the course of their duties. And their policy says we can't. If you can't discriminate against someone for their skin color, or if they're wearing a cross, or if they're speaking normally and not being disruptive, well, how does video recording free press get an exception to civil rights?
Commissioner Maggie, I'll speak to more an argument, but quasi-judicial hearings or a trespass appeal is certainly obviously not the forum to challenge the constitutionality of a tax collector's office policy. So I think this whole line of questioning is very misdirected.
You cannot hear constitutional arguments?
I do not make decisions on the Constitution.
But you can still hear them, right? And they can still be entered into the record?
Sure.
Okay.
But you're not-
So my question is relevant.
What was the question again?
If your directors wrote a policy saying no pregnant women are allowed in here, would you enforce that policy? Would you make everybody stop working if a pregnant woman walked in? It's on paper. Your directors wrote it. It's on the wall or on the website. Now what are you doing in that situation?
I don't think that relates to the disruption of the office in the way that you're asking me.
But you're saying disruption by me standing still and recording not any clerks, not getting in anyone's way, except this random person you said.
Excuse me, are you saying that, or you were saying he testified?
He testified that I wasn't recording any paperwork, any clerks, anything. Plus they have 30 cameras recording us. So, Again, your directors wrote this video recording policy. Have you heard of free press?
Yes.
Do I have the right to free press?
I'm not in any position to answer that.
So you don't know if I have a right to free press in a public lobby of a government building?
Asking for a legal conclusion.
I would agree, you're asking for a legal conclusion.
Okay, so let me gather my thoughts here. You told everyone to stop working.
I relayed the message to the office manager who is there, yes.
Is that when I was threatened to have my ass kicked?
I do not know.
You don't know about any interactions with the customers except the person you said you don't know who they are.
I do know the interaction, I just do not know in which sequence that it occurred to you. Correct.
Do you know that a person threatened to kick my ass and throw my camera out the window?
I do recall a customer threatening to get rid of your equipment, yes.
Right. Do you remember a foreign lady saying, I have the right not to be recorded in public?
That I'm not aware of, no, sir.
Do you aware of the incident of the lady? There's only 3 people or 4 people I talked to. And the one gentleman with the baby, he was fine. Did you hear the interaction of the lady disparaging me? Like, who are you? Who are you to be in here? Who are you to be doing this?
No,
Well, look how you're dressed.
My interaction with you mainly regarded you addressing my clerks, asking them for their names, and asking them policy questions at the front counters.
Now, is that disrupting to ask questions?
In the instance of when you were disrupting the office and we had to cease, and I just had the clerk stop interacting with you.
When you say you had to cease, it's because
Of our policy.
policy written by directors.
As far as
Will you follow any policy written by them?
as long as it pertains to my job,
Oh,
I understand that.
how does me peacefully recording pertain to your job?
Because you're violating our policy.
And your policy was written by directors, right?
Correct.
Will you enforce any policy your directors write?
Objection after answer.
I agree, and I've already ruled this.
Okay, can you discriminate against somebody wearing a cross?
No.
How about Star of David?
Objection relevant.
Relevance is that's one of the 5 things in the First Amendment. Speech, press, religion, redress, assembly. Things I was engaged in.
You're asking questions about hypothetical scenarios.
Hypothetical. Okay. Would you respect all the rights of the First Amendment to the general public?
To my knowledge.
You
But
would.
our policy is not that you cannot record, it's that you have to have prior approval before entering the office to record.
So we have to have prior approval from who?
That is listed in our policy. I do not recall what individual that is. It might be one of our directors, Greg Giordano.
So in order for me to engage in free press, I need permission to engage in free press. Is that what you're testifying?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion.
I'll overrule.
Overruled?
Yeah, you can ask.
Can you re-ask it? I'm sorry.
You believe in the elements of the First Amendment. You believe you exercise your job in accordance with the First Amendment and people's civil rights, correct?
That wasn't the question.
I'm just trying to get back to where I was. Can you refresh me by chance?
You were asking them about the policy.
All right. So the policy says no recording, but
Pre-approval.
all right, free press. Is it a free press if I have to ask government's permission to exercise free press in a government building? Am I still free in the free part?
I don't know the answer to that question.
But you say you will fulfill your job according to the Bill of Rights and the civil rights of people, right? You won't discriminate against anybody.
I did not answer that.
I've already sustained questions to that extent.
Do I have the right to record in public?
I would assume I'm not.
You're assuming I have the right to record in public. Is the DMV office a public place?
We are a Pasco County Tax Collector's Office and we are a public entity, yes.
You are a public entity. Is there a public lobby where the general public can enter?
Yes.
Is this a sign that was there that day when I came in?
I'm unaware if that sign was present at that point or not.
Is this sign still present on the board?
I believe it has changed, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not entirely
Can I explain to you what this is?
Yeah.
There's a duplicate copy that the county's going to introduce.
This is exhibit 2, actually.
I just wanted to see if you actually.
So-
this is the county.
You just said this is a public place, right? Public lobby, general public can come in.
As far as my knowledge.
The first thing you see on the door is, you are now entering a private area. So right off the bat, the sign is illegitimate. No photography, video, audio recording per the Driver Protection Privacy Act. And we can get into that later. Does the Driver Protection Privacy Act pertain to recording in public?
Objection, that's a legal conclusion.
So just to be clear, only one imaginary person who you don't know their name, you don't have any affidavit, you don't have any other ID, you don't have any statement from them, told you I was blocking them.
Correct.
Did anyone tell me I was blocking anybody in that case? The security, the team lead, did anybody tell me I was blocking and I need to get out of somebody's way?
He was not present in the office at the time, so I don't.
Did anybody tell me I was blocking someone and I needed to be out of their way?
You were set up directly in front of the office, or in front of the gatekeeper.
Did anybody complain to you or anybody else that I was blocking their way or disrupting them in any way?
I don't recall.
Okay. But I am allowed to be there. It is a public place.
To my understanding.
So the issue is strictly that I'm engaged in free press.
Objection, mischaracterization.
So the issue is exactly that I'm recording in public.
Causing a disruption while doing it, so yes.
Where's the disruption part again? You told me no one said anything to you except some imaginary guy.
So if you believe that one person is imaginary, you believe that's nobody then?
Well, I have no reason to believe otherwise because I have lots of documents with contradicting statements from your office.
I guess I'm trying to understand the difference between what I say and you say as an attorney.
Because I have video and documentation. You have nothing but your words.
Okay.
And I'm assuming you're biased towards your bosses and the people you work for.
I'm not for that.
I'm just, okay. I guess I'm done with this guy then.
Any follow-up questions?
No.
All right, everybody. So there you go. Harrison Flynn, customer service something specialist. I don't know what he is. Made everybody stop working because I was standing there peacefully recording inside a public lobby. He saw he lied. He saw he contradicted himself. First he says someone told him I was blocking him. And then afterwards he says nobody came up to him and said that I was blocking him. He completely fabricated this story about the person. This is a kangaroo court and just one lie after another. And for some reason, this court is outside of the Constitution somehow. So how is it legitimate at all if the Constitution can't be brought up? Anyway, in the next series, the next part of this video, it will be Timothy Daniel Couette, the actual deputy tax collector over the whole county. And just wait till you hear what this guy has to say. Thanks everybody for watching. Much love. Please click my GoFundMe link so I can get a lawyer for my upcoming misdemeanor case. And I love you. Have a good day. Much love. Bye.